but I really like the way you handle things, the way you said things, the way you interviewed guests, kind of your respectfulness for people, and just your personality. So then when you had promoted the legendary lean program, I was at 285 and it was January, and I was like, I can probably do this on my own. And then I listened to, I don't remember which your podcast, you had someone on or maybe another, but it was basically saying, hey, even as a coach, you need a coach. And so I was so busy. I was working 55 hours a week. And, and like I said, I had worked on getting my sleep schedule more regimented. And I just realized that even though in my head I may know how to do this, handing the reins over to someone else is what I needed to do. So I signed up for Legendary Lean, and as I said, and my intake profile was I was 285, and I would have been happy to get into the 250s, through the program. And I figured that would put me on a great start, and I finished the program at 242 pounds.
You were just listening to Todd, a Legendary Lean member who is sharing his success story today. What's up, my friend? You are listening to the Legendary Life podcast. I'm your host, health and fitness expert, Ted Ryce. This is the show that's all about helping executives, entrepreneurs, and people looking to level up their life. So if you're after more energy, better health, a better body, then you, my friend, are in the right place. So let's get back to Todd's story. Todd is a 46-year-old engineer. And like many people who end up in the Legendary Lean program, he thought he could do it all on his own. And Todd's a super bright guy, like all engineers. Very analytical, very able to understand details and apply principles and get results with things. In fact, Todd was telling me he's the type of guy who likes to be in control of everything. He's a type A go-getter type of guy. In spite of all Todd's knowledge and intelligence, he wasn't able to get the results that he was after. And Todd said something very important in his questionnaire. Now, he's got a little bit of a different story. He was overweight, but he wasn't suffering from any major health issues. But he knew it was only a matter of time before you can go with having an unhealthy lifestyle and having it come back to really create problems and come down with chronic diseases and so on. And Todd wanted to make 50 years old being in the best shape of his life. So he took the plunge, joined the program, and you are going to hear all about it in this episode. I love sharing these stories with you because one of the most requested topics that I've received from people who listen to the show is that they want to hear someone who's done it, who isn't an expert. I've heard people tell me or have read emails that, hey, Ted, you always have these experts on here. They all sound like they just have this area of their life handled. Why don't we hear from someone who's in the process or struggling with it or, getting results, but fell off and all the things that they had to go through? And Todd's going to share both the good and bad of his experience in the program. He's going to also share how some of the people in his life were actively trying to derail him and what he did to get past that, to deal with those situations. Unfortunately, you missed this round of Legendary Lean. However, I do have 3 spots available for my one-on-one VIP coaching. And if you're interested in that and working with me one-on-one to get even better results than the people who are in the Legendary Lean group, make sure you go to legendarylifepodcast.com/VIP and fill out an application now. All right, my friends, let's step into this conversation with Todd and his experience in the Legendary Lean program. Todd, thanks so much for doing this, man.
Hey, you're welcome, Ted. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Really excited to have you on the show today to talk about your success story. Because Todd, I'll tell you, and maybe you can give me some feedback on this. I feel like when I put the marketing out there, like lose 4 to 6 pounds in the first week, I don't think people believe me, man. I don't think people believe the type of results that I say people get. But when you come on and then share your experience, I feel like that resonates with people. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And, and when I signed up, I mean, like we had kind of talked about is, I was looking to make this kind of lifestyle change and I wasn't in for the big, quick weight loss, but, following the program as you laid it out. So, and I think, like I was eating maybe way too many vegetables in the beginning, but once I dialed that in to what you had spelled out, I mean, I lost, probably 6 pounds in the first 2 weeks, maybe a little more, but then, I've consistently lost that 3 pounds every week that I've been on the program. And like I said, the very last week where I only lost 0.6, I lost almost 2 inches off my waist that week. So obviously I'm still losing fat and I'm not so concerned about the scale, because if the scale stays the same or even goes up, but my waist is getting smaller, that means I'm moving in the right direction.
Actually, especially you, Todd, you're putting up some good numbers on your bench press and your bigger lifts. Let's rewind a little bit because I didn't introduce you too much. Can you talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, and we'll talk about how you heard about the program and why you decided to join, because there's so many programs out there you could join. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you joined?
Yeah, so my name's Todd, and I'm an engineer. So I work in the automotive industry. So I have a desk job, and I have a history of lifting ever since I'm 46, and I've lifted since I was probably 15, and I was in really good shape, in college when I had lots of time, and then as I got the desk job, and you can see the graph of my weight just goes from 190 to almost 300 pounds at my heaviest. So, and I've always been into fitness as well. And as an engineer, I'm very analytical. I like to collect the data, read, learn more about everything. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and that's where I happen to fall on, Legendary Life podcast. And I listen to lots of fitness podcasts, which I've recently kind of whittled down. So you're still in that group that I listen to. And honestly, but I really like the way you handle things, the way you said things, the way you interviewed guests, kind of your respectfulness for people, and just your personality. So then when you had promoted the Legendary Lean program, I was at 285 and it was January, and I was like, I can probably do this on my own. And then I listened to, I don't remember which your podcast, you had someone on or maybe another, but it was basically saying, hey, even as a coach, you need a coach. And so I was so busy. I was working 55 hours a week. And, and like I said, I had worked on getting my sleep schedule more regimented. And I just realized that even though in my head I may know how to do this, handing the reins over to someone else is what I needed to do. So I signed up for Legendary Lean. And as I said, my intake profile was, I was 285, and I would have been happy to get into the 250s, through the program. I figured that would put me on a great start. And I finished the program at 242 pounds, right? So, I mean, just a tremendous loss, steady loss every week. I'm not going to say it was easy, but it wasn't hard either, right? It takes some discipline, it takes some planning, and it really takes following what you give and then asking questions when you don't understand, which was maybe, some of my mistake in the beginning, and reporting back. And I think, like I've gotten, good results, but, even when I got that 0.6, and I said, hey, Ted, I only got 0.6, but, I lost this off my waist. You're like, man, that's awesome. That's where we want to go. But I feel if it wasn't, you would have then dialed that program in to keep me on track. So,
so I didn't just take your money and disappear.
No. And honestly, I mean, the money for what it was for losing 42 pounds, that's well worth it, right? If you figure a dollar cost per pound, I'd easily pay that. If I could tell someone, hey, I'll give you $200 and you could take 42 pounds off me, I'd do it in a minute, right? Who wouldn't? And really for 90 days of time and investment, it was totally worth it. And, as you know, I signed up again, right? So, and I think that's a testimonial to you in the program is, hey, I put out my money once and I'm putting out my money a second time. And to people on the fence, I'd say you may be able to do it on your own, but you're not going to be able to do it as well and as easy. Plus, like I said, you're the professional, right? You see so many cases and so many people, so what's gonna take to move someone forward. And I think that's going to help avoid a lot of frustration for people, right? And you have to commit. Like I said, I committed to signing up and to doing what you gave me, even though sometimes I thought it was a little crazy.
What would you think was crazy?
Just like I had said, when you sent me that, after kind of the initial reset phase, and I was looking forward to like this big calorie increase, and I got the meal plan, and I was like, Ted, I think you made a mistake. Like, this calories too low. And you were very nice in your reply. You're like, well, Ted, Todd, considering where you're at body fat wise, like, I think this is the right plan for you. And I followed it. And, like I said, I've gotten 3 pounds every week, for the 90 days. So it's been phenomenal. I feel better. I move better. I sleep better. My mood's better. I joke around the house, just like I said, I don't say I dance. I'm not a dancer, but I'll hop around, right? I'm just a lot lighter on my feet, I think, as you put it, right? It's a lot more enjoyable to move being 42 pounds lighter than when I started.
Oh yeah, man. I had to learn that the hard way myself, but yeah, no, it's just so proud of you, Todd. And man, I think you're bringing up some really good points. What would you say are some of the obstacles that you faced along the way? Because I think a lot of people, they're like, well, he's a smart guy. Maybe he's got it together and maybe it was just easier for him. Like, what were some things that happened? Like you mentioned that some of the people in your life weren't that supportive, not your family, but some of your coworkers. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So as I said, it was hard because I think, especially when you work at, a place with a lot of people like to bring in food. And, people weren't very cool when I'd say, hey, no, I'm not going to have that. And then people would be like, come on, man, you can have it. It's Fat Tuesday. Everyone has a punchki on Fat Tuesday. And if you're not from, around Polish people, punchki's like a big fat donut, right? So, and people would try and force food on you. And so I finally came up, I called it my little mantra, and I just say, hey, Fat Todd's on a diet. So, and I'm okay with myself enough, like that doesn't beat down my self-esteem, but it was just a way to say, if there's food, I'd just say, say it's cake. Hey, nope, I know it's your birthday, but Fat Todd's on a diet. Fat Todd doesn't eat cake. Happy birthday. I'll sing you happy birthday, but, I'm not partaking of the cake today. Thanks, but no thanks. So that part was hard because, especially, I was always a guy, if there's free food, like free food's it, man, right? Like, so that part was, was hard just from that social aspect. And, and I went out to work every Friday with a group of guys from work. And I just said, hey, for these 90 days, like, this is what I'm doing. I was very open with, hey, I'm on this program. Like, I want to lose weight. And everyone was real supportive, and I think that's one of the keys too is, I don't think you need to put on a poster like, hey, I'm on a program, but you shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. And you shouldn't be afraid to tell people because, there's going to be haters that try and sabotage you. But, there's a lot of guys at work that would come to my defense. Like, if someone's like, hey, just eat this. And you're like, hey, man, Todd's doing great. Like, look at him. He's losing weight. Like, kind of back off, man. Like, what do you care, right? So, from that point, I think letting people know what you're doing is really a key factor. And I think one of the other things that helped me was just planning my meals on the weekend. And like I told you earlier, I eat the same thing every day. I mean, that may suck for some people, but I think when you're on a diet, it's so much easier. So I'd sit and this is what I have for breakfast. And maybe I have 2 meals and I'll switch between those 2 meals or 3 meals. But it's just so much easier for me to not have to, after I figured out the calories and the macros the once, than to have to do it all the time. Right. Yeah. So stick with that.
Yeah. It's great points you're making. And while it is optimal to like diversify the types of foods you eat, you got to be practical about it. And we all have only so much time during the day. How much time can you dedicate to really diversifying your veggies and your sources of protein? And, you've got to make the call unless we're paid to get in shape, which neither you nor I are, then we've got to do our best. So I love hearing that. I also would like to hear about when you first started, you said you were working 55 hours a week and you were only sleeping 4 hours. Now, one of the most common complaints in in my business is I don't have time to do,
Right.
I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to do Ted's program. I don't have time to do Bob's program. What could you share with someone about how you tackled that issue for yourself and what they may be able to learn from you?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things was just making that commitment right in the beginning that I'm going to do this. And my workload didn't go down. So, I go to work, I'm in work at 7, and then I'm leaving work a lot of times at 7. And so, I pack all my food in the morning, and then I come home, I change clothes, and I work out in my house. I'm fortunate enough, I've built up a pretty good gym in my garage. So, I go out in the garage every night, and that's what I do, right? Monday through Friday, and then I do my workouts on the weekend. And some of it was tailoring the program. So, when you gave the program, and it was great to find out if I went through the web, I could just drag the days from one day to the next on the app. And then I said, well, weekends are better for me to work out because, Monday through Friday is very busy, and it gives me some time. If something comes up on, I lift on the Wednesday, Thursday, but then if something comes up, I can move that to Tuesday and, do Tuesday, Thursday. But it was really committing. And a lot of my free time where people say you don't have time, I never watched a lot of TV anyway, but I would browse the web or just read things just for the sake of reading, right? Not that that's bad, but I would divert that energy that then I just took that time and said, I'm going to work out. And so did part of it suck? Yeah. But the long-term benefits from it of how much better I feel today is totally worth it, but there were days I get up, I eat breakfast. And that was one of the changes I made too was, because I was so busy, I would eat breakfast and lunch at my work. We have a cafeteria. So I was eating 2 meals a day at work, then maybe I'd pick something up or I'd make something at home, but it wasn't always so great. I went to eating breakfast at home, packing my lunch, packing my snack, and then having dinner after I work out, every day. And that's a huge difference. And, the money I saved in that alone, probably paid for the program, and the supplements and allowed me to buy better food that I'm making at home. So,
that's awesome.
I think when people say they don't have time, everyone's busy, but like I said, I'm 46, right? If I don't get in shape now, then when am I going to, right? I've been fortunate that I haven't had any major health consequences of my weight, but I'm a ticking time bomb if I don't get my life under control, get my health under control. So that's what I say to people, if you think you don't have the time, when? Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to do everything else you want to do anyway. And actually, since I've prioritized sleep, I'm a lot, more focused on what I do. And that was one of the big things I'd say to anyone. If you're getting 4 hours of sleep a night, you can't.
That's what you were getting, right?
Yeah.
4 hours of sleep.
Night, right. And it was, and I don't know if it's like a guy thing or just our culture nowadays, but, it was like a badge, right? Like, man, I only got 4 hours and I'm here cranking it and I'm doing this, but I could barely function. I mean, I would have, and granted they were diet pops, but I was drinking 5 diet pops a day with caffeine just to stay awake, and then you get that caffeine crash where you get addicted. So, and once I, that was one of the things right before I started the program, I said, man, I got to get more sleep. So, now I'm getting 6, 7, sometimes 8 hours, but just even going from 4 to 6, 4 to 7, world of difference.
Yeah. And you said something really important. When you were doing that 4 hours of sleep, you just have very little control over yourself in terms of craving food and stopping yourself from eating. Even though you're a very analytical guy, I'm sure you're very regimented as well. Just hearing how you plan out your days and the workouts and planning the meals. Yeah. What do you have to say to someone who's thinking they can do this without really addressing the sleep?
No, it's huge because, and as I said to you, so, not only was I drinking a lot of diet pop and, we can talk about whether diet pop's good or bad, but, it doesn't have calories, right? So it's not part of, hey, you're fat,
sure,
diet pop, but just coming home and doing work at home because, I have a side gig too, but staying up that late, I would just graze on food because I would get so tired and you're looking for a pick-me-up. And I think when you're tired, you get the cravings more. So now that I'm getting more sleep, I don't get the cravings like I used to. and I don't get the sweet cravings as much as I used to, So I used to kind of kid myself. I'm like, oh, I'm not eating that much, but there'd be a bag of chips on the counter. And by the end of the night, I'm like, hey, who ate those bag of chips, right? But I come and have 1 or 2 or 5, and then, get up from the desk to go to the bathroom and have like 5 more, and walk by it again and have 5 more. And, and then over the course of the night, I was probably eating, half a bag of chips or whatever it was. But so it's that not having sleep, is huge, because A, it's more time you're awake to get hungry and to eat. And B, it does mess with, your brain and your cravings and how you feel. So yeah, I'd say sleep, and I think you said it in one of the calls, sleep, I think, is the most important, right? Even over exercise, even over food, because without the sleep, you can't manage the other 2 things.
Yeah, you just can't. Absolutely. You think you can, and just all falls apart and breaks down as you do emotionally, It's what happens to me anyway. So I usually ask, like, what would you say to someone if they were on the fence, but you already tackled that point. What would you say to someone who is maybe not on the fence, but like is not sure if they're going to get results with this, or what do you have to say to anybody who's thinking about signing up?
I mean, so honestly, I'd say if you're thinking about it, do it, right? And like I said to you, I'm a frugal person. I don't want to say I'm cheap, but I don't like to spend money. So I think one of the biggest things for me too was by putting my money into this program, right? I'm making a commitment, and then by having that accountability. Because, man, there was days, like, there were some things I wanted to eat or I didn't want to work out, and I'm like, like, I'm not logging in on Saturday and going to report this and to say, that I didn't follow it. So I made that commitment. And honestly, I think working with you, I've been lucky because I haven't stalled out, obviously, because, I started at 285. I still have a ways to go. But, you were always like, hey, is this working? What's going on here? Check in with me. In the week where, my motherboard died and I couldn't log in, you're like, hey, Todd, what's going on, man? I haven't heard from you. Is everything okay? Let me know. Like, all right, I saw you reported a weight loss, so I'm assuming it's good. But, I feel if I would have been stuck, that you would have came back, and said, okay, let's look what we can tweak. Because, like I said, when we were talking just one-on-one, is you have that breadth of knowledge. You have that experience of dealing with, hundreds of people. So I'm not so unique, right? Like, what's going to work is going to work. So, but me on my own, I might get frustrated and just say, screw it, where now being able to come back to you, you have that added support, right? You have that added knowledge. So to anyone on the fence, I would say do it. Plus, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's still the 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you get on the program and you don't lose in those first 30 days, then ask for your money back. But I can not see if you join up and follow the program, and stick to it. And by follow, I mean stick to it, because some people follow programs and are like, I don't count this donut or this. You're going to get results, right? So yeah, I think it's one of the best investments I made, honestly.
That is so cool to hear, right? We talked about. Yeah, please.
Sorry. And, as I think a statement to that is I signed up for another 3 months, right? So I did the first 3 months, but, so I went from 285, and actually even on my week off, I still kept following the principles. So now I'm down to 239, right? So I lost almost another 3 this week, and I signed up for another 3 months because I want to keep this going, because I know that, hey, I still have a good amount of body fat. So I don't want to say it's easy, but it's going to be easier to lose the weight. But I want to be with you, Ted, when I get to that sticking point, so that way, I can reach out and you can help me keep moving so I don't plateau, so I don't get frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have had people, right? Actually, the less amount of fat that you have to lose, it gets a little bit trickier. We've had people who hit plateaus and we've had to work around them. And hopefully that won't happen for a while, but yeah, I mean, we solve all those problems. And there wasn't anyone in this program. Actually, there were 2 people in this program, in this group, who ended up dropping out very soon. And they were actually, Todd, the 2 youngest people in the program. So we're so ridiculous. That's why I like working with people in their 40s and 50s and up, because You just be more serious about it. I mean, we gave them their money back and everything. But Todd, it's such a pleasure working with someone like yourself, where you're a straightforward guy, as long as I was straightforward. And, we just were a good team. And it was just a pleasure and an honor to help you. And thanks so much for doing this. Like I said, I feel like
you're welcome.
The marketing, people don't really listen, but when they hear someone like you who comes in and just says their experience, the good and the bad. In fact, you even gave me some feedback on how I could step things up a little bit better next time, which we took to heart. But when they hear someone like you, I feel like it's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's real. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. Todd, thank you, man. And I'm going to see you again for another 3 months. You and I, buddy, we're going to do this.
For sure.
Thanks, man. That was great.
All right.
That wraps up Todd's story, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was inspirational, and I hope that you see that no journey to optimal health or a better body or however you want to take your life to the next level is without its obstacles and adversities along the way. You heard about how Todd's coworkers tried to sabotage him. Some of the people in Todd's life, they were made uncomfortable by him trying to change who he was and change his relationship to other people. And that's normal and something that we all have to go through. Perhaps not that specific situation, but there's always something in our way and always some obstacles that we have to overcome. So like I said, you miss out on this round of Legendary Lean, and you've been hearing the results. People have been losing 40 pounds or 20 pounds or 25 pounds. And not only that, it's not just about the weight coming off. It's about who they become in the process, about how they feel after the process. These are people with more energy, more zest for life, more focus, or a higher ability to go after and achieve their goals. And that's what I want for you. But like I said, you're not going to be able to join the coaching group until 3 months from now when we open it back up. So mark your calendar and be ready for it and take advantage of it. Because I know some people wanted to join, but you said, oh, you know what? Now is the right time. Or I don't know if I'm going to follow through on it. Well, there is never a great time. There is never a right time. There is only right now and what you do with it. So hopefully you won't miss out next time, because again, as the group gets more successful, I'm going to continue to raise the price because I believe we're bringing that much value to the people who are in the group. And you can hear that by how people talk about their experience and the results. However, if you don't want to wait that long, I do have, like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I have 3 spots for my one-on-one VIP coaching. So if you want next level attention so that you can achieve even better results than what you hear from the coaching group, then I want you to sign up now. Or rather, you have to actually fill out an application. You can't just sign up to it and hire me. We have to take you through an application process. So if you're interested, go to legendarylifepodcast.com/VIP. Looking forward to speaking with you, and have an amazing week.